Good morning, Tampa Bay. What is going on? It's Thursday, babe. You already know Thursday's the best day of the week. At least I like it because Friday didn't really count, right? Fridays don't really count. So Thursdays are my favorite day. We get to do NFL pick'ems, but today, oh boy, we're starting the great debate. We're over halfway through November. It's Christmas season. I don't care what anybody says. Thanksgiving's not a season. Thanksgiving is a holiday. Thanksgiving is a fantastic time of year. I love Thanksgiving. I think there should be more Thanksgiving movies. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is one of my all-time favorite movies. But Thanksgiving's not a season, right? Thanksgiving just kind of falls under that umbrella of holiday season. And to me, I'm okay with that. But we're doing our I'm going to reveal my Christmas movie power rankings. And upon creating these, I have found that these power rankings are a million times harder than making my weekly NFL power rankings. It's not even close. It's night and day how difficult it is for me to make these the power rankings I did for this Christmas movie. It's ridiculous. Given that there will be some disparities between your thoughts and between my thoughts. I'm not going to say I don't care, but these are my power rankings. You want your own power rankings? Come on the show. But in the serious, I want to hear from you guys in the chat. I want to hear, in all seriousness, I want to hear from you guys in the chat as I break these down. And I'll tell you why each movie is where it is. You know how we do this. This is going to be just like our NFL power rankings. It's going to be just the same, where I'm going to talk about all of these movies and I'm going to tell you my favorite parts. I'm going to tell you why I like them, yada, yada, etc. Without further ado, before we jump into that, we do have NFL pick'ems we've got to get through. But I think I need to start. I got to start the great debate first. I think we have to start with the great debate, and we'll wrap it up with NFL pick'ems. Before we get into that, I want to touch briefly on whatever happened with the Orlando Magic last night. Whatever happened with the Orlando Magic. Look, I knew it wasn't going to be a pretty game. You can't go into a game with two perennial big men out on your team. With Paulo Banchero is out, Wendell Carter Jr. is out. And then you can't expect Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert not to have a game, right? You just can't. Also helps when Anthony Edwards goes off for 35 points. I know I've been very high on Bol lately, and he's continuing to show evolution in his game, but he can't be your leading scorer if you're expecting to pick up a W, guys. Bol's got 26 points. You can't expect him to be your leading scorer. What I do like, though, is seeing that evolution and seeing that uptick. You know, the Magic, now they dropped to 4-11. It's not pretty. It's not pretty, but if you tuned into the show yesterday, I told you it wasn't going to be pretty if Dell didn't play. And what happened? Dell didn't play, got down by nearly 30 points, but they battled back, right? That's another thing that I continue to harp on about this Orlando Magic team. They got down huge in the first quarter, 42-24 when the buzzer went off. And then they battled back. Right? They got down, they lost the second quarter battle, 32-25. Jamal Mosley makes some halftime adjustments. They come out, they win the third quarter, they tie in the fourth quarter, but because that lead was so insurmountable at one point, it was too much to ask without two of your top scorers. It was just too much to ask. They won. They cleaned up the turnovers. They didn't win the turnovers. They cleaned up turnovers, only 16. I know 16 is a lot, but that's not a lot for this young team, right? They shot well from the charity stripe. They shot really, really poor from three. Not a fan of going 9 of 35 from beyond the arc, but that's kind of the recipe when you can't really force the ball inside because all of your big men that are on the low block are not playing. It's kind of difficult. They got outscored in the paint. First time this has happened all season, 58-56. They still won in the rebounds. They still won in the rebounding battle. They're just shooting poorly. 45.2 from the floor, 25.7 from three. It's going to happen if you can't get your big guys out there. That's all I want to talk about with the Magic. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game. There wasn't really much to take home outside of Bol stepping up with 26 points. Very proud of the evolution we're seeing from him. We're going to go to a quick break from our friends at BetUS, of course. When we come back, it's on. It's on, baby. We're doing it. Christmas movie power rankings. Hop on social media, share this link, tag your friends, because there's going to be some very pissed off people that spoiler alert, don't have Die Hard as a Christmas movie. We'll be right back.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
All right, we are back. Head on over to BetUS.com. Use the promo code Channelside. They're going to hook you up with 125% deposit bonus for all new accounts as we head into the holiday season. You like any of those Christmas Day slate games for the NFL or for the NBA? Hop on over. They're going to hook you up. Trusted for nearly 3 decades online. Doesn't get much more cut and dry than that, folks. Head on over to one of the most trusted sources for sports wagering and tell them your friends at Channelside Sports sent you. All right, without further ado, here we go. Shout out to the shirt, by the way. I don't know if he's watching, but shout out to my buddy Jimmy. If you know what this shirt means, let me know in the chat if you know what this shirt means as we go through this. Christmas movie power rankings. As you'll notice, and we'll start right here. I already said the spoiler before we went to break. There is no Die Hard. There is no Die Hard in this. And I'll tell you why there is no Die Hard in this Christmas movie debate. There is no Die Hard because the movie came out in July. It was not ever intended to be a Christmas movie. I'll listen to your debates all day long. I will listen to it takes place on Christmas Eve. He wanted to get his wife. We're going to the Christmas party. I'll listen to all of those debates. But the movie was released as a summer blockbuster. All of these other movies were released in mid to late November at the earliest. These are Christmas movies, my friends. These are Christmas movies. And I've got, 5 on my honorable mentions as well. I know Loose Cannon Leprechaun is sitting in the chat right now, sitting on his hands, trying to be nice to me because I don't have Scrooged in here. Scrooge has made my honorable mentions. Like I said, this list was stupidly hard. I'll do NFL power rankings all day long. I'll have a couple second thoughts. Maybe this team should go here. Maybe that team should go here. This power ranking list literally took me 48 hours and several different lists to go, well, wait, hold on. I almost made it a top 15, but I couldn't. Like that to me, that's too much. It's too much. Honorable mentions. I'm going to roll through some honorable mentions. I've got Fred Claus. That's my number 1 honorable mention. Miracle on 34th Street, the original one. The original black and white Miracle, not even the recolored. I don't want to watch the colored version. I want to watch the original Miracle on 34th Street. I got Bing Crosby's White Christmas. It's a great movie. You can't tell me that it's not a great movie. You can't. And then, of course, I got 2 other claymations. A Year Without a Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I think The Night Before was all right, but I saw it once. I thought it was funny, and then I never really watched it again. But this is a super difficult movie. And also, you'll notice that Christmas Story is left out here. I think Christmas Story is terrible. I think it's an awful movie. I really do. I'm gonna watch actually, the new one comes out tonight. I'm gonna watch it, but it's a terrible movie. It's not. It's not a good movie in my opinion. I feel like that's one of those movies that people are like, you have to like this movie, and nobody knows why you have to like this movie, but you just have to. You have to enjoy A Christmas Story. It's a 24/7 marathon on Christmas Day on TBS, or it used to be. I don't think it is anymore. But I don't like it. I don't enjoy. I do not enjoy A Christmas Story at all. So we're gonna run through here. Home Alone. No matter what your argument is about Home Alone, it is the most successful Christmas movie of all time. It is the biggest box office blockbuster Christmas movie of all time, and it sets the tone. Almost every year, what's the very first Christmas movie that you ever see that's on TV? Home Alone. You see that almost every time. Yeah, Polar Express is also on there too. I told you, dude, I'm telling you, this is super difficult. This list is ridiculous. I'm not even gonna lie, I totally forgot about Polar Express, and I love that movie. And that's a terrible movie. But I'm telling you, Home Alone #1. You can't tell me that anything is better than Home Alone. Now, if you want to tell me that you've got a 1A 1B with Home Alone and Christmas Vacation, I'm okay with that. But that's where that's where this shirt is from. Christmas Vacation. If you want to do a 1A 1B, I'm totally okay with that. I'm totally fine with a 1A 1B. Because I feel like they're almost interchangeable at this point. Right? Like, as much as I love Home Alone, and I watch it every holiday season, but like, we have to watch Christmas Vacation on Christmas Day, usually Christmas night. It's just like family. It's like a family ritual for us. Like, that's our plans. We have to watch this Christmas night. The Santa Claus. Look, one thing that you'll find out about me over time is I'm biased for anything that Tim Allen does. I think Home Improvement is one of the greatest TV shows ever made. I absolutely love Tim Allen. I like Last Man Standing. Tim Allen is my guy. Except Santa Claus 3. Santa Claus 3 is that's just terrible. I did not watch the new series yet. I saw that there were 2 episodes on Disney Plus. But we did not tune into that yet. Maybe that'll be something that we watch tonight, because Thursday Night Football is not going to be too interesting between the Titans and the Packers. Elf is #4. Like, you can't. Once upon a time, I would not have put Elf on here. Once upon a time. And I'll tell you why I would not have put Elf on here once upon a time. And that's because for the longest time, I didn't like Will Ferrell. I was not a Will Ferrell guy for the longest time. What turned me on to Will Ferrell was watching Step Brothers. And then I was like, oh, okay, he's fun. Like, old school Will Ferrell, I was like, okay, this is like typical Saturday Night Live guy. I don't know. Not a like. I didn't care for Will Ferrell. I thought he tried too hard to be funny. I saw Step Brothers and I was like, I need to rewatch everything that Will Ferrell has done, reevaluate my life. I hated Elf. I thought Elf was absolutely trash when it first came out because I didn't like Will Ferrell. However, moved all the way up to #4. That's like, it's a good story. And I love the shout out to the old Claymations. I had a friend recently, Elf was playing in the background. We were entertaining our friends' kids. And somebody decided they were going to put Elf on in the background last week. And I had a friend look at the screen during the claymation scene and go, "Wow, the graphics on this are really bad." Yeah, I know. They're supposed to be. It's a tribute to the claymation series. But I mean, how can you not like Buddy the Elf? It's just it's if you like Will Ferrell, this is classic Will Ferrell right here. Like for me, um, you got to have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on there. I think that out of all of the claymations, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, A Year Without a Santa, um, Little Drum, Miss Me with Little Drummer Boy. That movie. I don't care about the story. I don't care about the song. Maybe we'll do Christmas songs next too. Not next. I'm not. That's too much. But well, maybe next week on Thursday we'll do Christmas songs. Christmas songs is going to be super hard because there's like a million variations of every song. And no, I will not have Mariah Carey number one. I don't even know if she'd make the list. I don't know. What I'm thinking, you know what? You know what we might do? We might start having people put together their Christmas song playlist and we will share it out on Channelside Sports throughout the holiday season and see who has the best taste in Christmas music. How about that? Let's do that. That sounds fun. A Christmas Carol is good. And Scrooge is good. Scrooge made my look, and dude, this is what I'm telling you. Scrooge, I felt stupid leaving Scrooged off and Fred Claus. But I'm looking at and you're like, okay, you have to have Rudolph and Frosty in there, right? I have and I'll tell you what, I have Mickey's Christmas Carol on there because I feel like that just ties back to my childhood too much for me to ignore it, right? Like I feel like that's where that goes. It goes down that path for me of all of the Jim Carrey version is good, Scrooged is good, but the Mickey Mouse version of it, I don't know, man. You see little Tiny Tim come down there with the cane, bro. Come on. I mean, you can't tell me that you're not sitting there going, "Oh God, whoo, okay, Tiny Tim, you got me." And you see little Minnie Mouse over there cutting the pea. I'm telling you, man, that hurts. But Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like I feel like that's got to be the number one claymation movie out of all of them, right? That's got to be the number one claymation movie. It's a great story. Has anybody ever tied the parallel? Can anybody ever tie the parallel that Hermie looks just like Bob Lee from ESPN? I'm telling you, go look up Bob Lee. Go look up Hermie side by side. Bro, I'm telling you right now, it's a spitting image. Bob Lee should sue for copyright and likeness, and they look exactly the same. Even when he smiles, Bob Lee's got like that triangular smile too. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. But yeah, Rudolph is a good story, man. And then I've got the Grinch. Like, you can kind of interchange the Grinch in my mind. You can kind of change whether it's the original cartoon or it's Jim Carrey's version. I love Jim Carrey's version, but I feel like I don't want to say that it's played out, right? But like, I don't want to say that it's played out, but I feel like that gets way more shine than like the original cartoon does, right? I feel like that gets more shine, but it's got to be on there. And love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's one of my favorite actors, comedy wise. Anyway, Jingle All the Way coming in at number 7. It's got to. I mean, guys, it's Jingle All the Way. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Sinbad. What's not to like? It's so stupid and cheesy that it's good, right? I mean, to me it's a very underrated movie. Honestly, I think it's a very underrated movie. Um, I mean, it's just Big Show's in it. I mean, come on, you have Big Show. I forgot about that. I forgot Big Show's in it. But like Arnold doing a movie like that is hilarious to me. Phil Hartman in it is hilarious to me. And you know what? And shout out to Phil Hartman. Obviously, he's no longer with us. Phil Hartman is such a good job at being like a creepy eligible bachelor in this movie that it's so hilarious. Oh, these cookies. Arnold, put that cookie down now. Sinbad handing the cop a bomb that he didn't know was a bomb that he said was a bomb. The building, it's just awesome. Anakin Skywalker. So honestly, it's a great movie, and I think it's severely, severely underrated. Honestly, it's a great movie. And anybody who is a collector like I am, obviously he's buying a toy for his kids, but I collect stuff. Anybody who's a collector has experienced the same thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger is experiencing when you're out there trying to get something that's brand new, something that's extremely hot, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for somebody else. But I don't know. Who's the Santa? I don't know if I understand that question. Who's the Santa in Jingle All the Way? If that's what you're talking about, yeah, that's Jim Belushi. Comedic icon, Jim Belushi. Both the Belushi brothers, comedic icons, in my opinion. Rest in peace, obviously. Frosty the Snowman, I got number 8. You gotta like Frosty, man. I don't think there's ever been like a remake or anything of Frosty the Snowman. Like there really hasn't been. It's just like re-releases of the same movie over and over. So there's like, I guess they have that sequel, Frosty Returns or something. I've never seen the sequel, but I mean, 9 times out of 10, a sequel's not going to beat the original, right? Like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Santa Claus 2 sucked. Santa Claus 3 sucked. Home Alone 2, liked it for what it was. Not nearly as good as the original Home Alone, right? Just not. And that's the case for most movies. Wayne's World 2, terrible. Wayne's World 1, fantastic. Austin Powers might be the only movie that actually, like, well, no, there's others. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because there's going to be others and I'm going to forget them. And then Loose Cannon Leprechaun is going to grill me in the chat. Number 9, I've got Jack Frost. I think this is also another very underrated movie. Michael Keaton, movie legend. I love Michael Keaton. I mean, Michael Keaton is everything that Michael Keaton does is good. Multiplicity is good. Obviously, Batman. Best Batman. Don't care what anybody says. Michael Keaton's Batman. Best Batman there was. Best Batman there ever is. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Shout out. shout out to Bret Hart. I mean, Jack Frost, like it's such like an up and down, right? It's like a roller coaster ride of a movie, man. He's got everything going for him, and I'm trying not to give spoilers because I really think that you should watch it. Everything's going for him, it all crumbles down, and then how it affects everybody. It's just, yeah, it's a great movie, honestly. Yeah, the horror movie of Jack Frost was trash. Anybody who's remaking anything into a horror movie usually sucks, right? Jack Frost was terrible. The Winnie the Pooh movie looks absolutely stupid as hell. I mean, like, there's a reason why like these weren't ideas, right? Like the first Blair Witch Project was good. Wasn't a remake of like a kids movie or family friendly movie, right? the first couple Paranormal Activities, good, right? But like I don't know, Black Christmas, all that, like that. That's just to me, it's stupid, right? Like you've got. Of course, I've watched them all, but I just think it's stupid. There's a movie with Bill Goldberg as Santa, which actually is not that bad. I can't think of it, and I do want to see Violent Night. I think James Harbour is a fantastic actor. I think this is actually. It's weird because based off of the movie poster and based off of the name, you would assume that Violent Night, he's going to be like a bad guy, right? Like that's that. When I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, he's an ass kicking Santa. That's pretty cool. He's like a Stone Cold Steve Austin version of Santa Claus, and I'm a-okay with that. I'm totally cool with that. So Violent Night might make it. I mean, it's gonna be hard, like I said, and a lot of these, if I'm being totally honest, if you're looking at these power rankings, a lot of them outside of the top 4 are probably variables, right? A lot of them are probably variables because sometimes I'm like, man, I really want to watch like the old Bing Crosby movies. It's a Wonderful Life, White Christmas, Holiday Inn, Christmas in Connecticut. Like I want to watch those old movies. But these are top, like these 10 I have to watch. Like we've got the Bennett version of Freeform's 25 Days of Christmas in our own house anyway. Right? We've got that anyway. we watch all of these all the time. But like I said, outside of the top 4, like those 4 are 100% set in stone. I had Jingle All the Way at number 5 at one point. And I was like, well, hold on. I don't know. I actually had Christmas Story at number 10. I felt I had to put Christmas Story in there. But then I was like, but I can't. Because if I put Christmas Story in there, I don't have Fred Claus in there. I don't have Miracle on 34th Street in there. Why would I put Christmas Story in there just to appease you people? Because I think it's a terrible movie. And we already covered why Mickey's Christmas Carol made it. It's just one of those things that just tugs on the heartstrings. I've got to watch that one every year. I know that there's other like Disney Christmas, but I'm sure I've seen them, but I don't remember them. But Mickey's Christmas Carol will get me. It will. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else. I'm sure I am. I'm 100% sure I am. Christmas music is going to be easier for me, and we're going to do that next week. I want you to put a playlist together of your top 10 Christmas songs. And I'm going to post this on our Twitter account as well. I want people to put together their top 10 Christmas song playlist. I don't care if you're into trance, if you're into dubstep remixes of Christmas music. I don't care what it is, but put together a top 10 playlist. Share it to us. And we're going to pick a winner. I'll share mine. I'll throw out my power rankings next Thursday. We'll talk about it. Oh, next Thursday is Thanksgiving. Maybe I won't do it on that. Maybe I won't do it next Thursday. And there might not be a show. Depends on what we're doing. Oh, there will be a show. What am I talking about? We do this in the morning. Half of you guys are still asleep. I get like 5 people in this chat every morning, if I'm lucky. And then 400 views throughout the rest of the day because you lazy bastards don't wake up early enough. But that's it. Those are my Christmas movie power rankings for now. Like I said, they're interchangeable outside, 6 through 10 kind of change. I'm always going to keep Mickey at number 10 though. I'm always going to keep that one at number 10. Christmas Carol stays at number 10. But the other ones, they can like I said, you can move out. You can add Miracle on 34th Street. Right? You could add Polar Express. You could add a lot of other movies and you could take out Frosty. You can't take out Grinch or Jingle All the Way. You could take out Frosty, Rudolph. Those are the 2 that I'm willing to part with. And I could change the order. But like I said, the top 4 are those bad boys, they're set in stone. Those 100% are set in stone. We're going to do this next week, though. I'm telling you right now. We're doing it next week. Christmas music. Put together a playlist. You too, Loose Cannon Leprechaun. And I hope for like some weird ass versions. I really do. All right, week 11 NFL pick 'em, baby. It is Thursday. You already know what we do. We run through here. We talk about the spreads, the lineups, we pick them, do the matchups. Buccaneers are off, obviously. They got the dub over in Munich. They're sitting true at 5-5 on the season now. Looks like they turned it around. Akeem Hicks, early Christmas present for the Buccaneers, coming back because the defense is once again stout. Who would have thought? Who would have thought it would be Akeem Hicks as the be-all, end-all for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense? Tonight, we've got the 6-3 Tennessee Titans traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the 4-6 Green Bay Packers. Picked up a big win over the Dallas Cowboys last Sunday. Look, if I'm being honest, I'm still shocked that the Titans are playing as well as they are. You know, there's nothing about the Titans. If you take away Derrick Henry, there's nothing about the Titans that's like truly remarkable, right? There's nothing that's truly remarkable about the Tennessee Titans. There's just not. But here they are. They're 6-3. Packers are 4-6. They're favored by 3.5 coming into this game per our buddies over at BetUS. Packers are favored by 3.5, but they're 4-6. I'm gonna roll with. Look, I'm gonna have to roll with the Green Bay Packers in this one. If I'm being totally honest with you, the Packers are good at stopping the run. At least they are now. Well, Rashawn Gary tore his ACL. I'm gonna flip this on the fly. I'm taking Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee because the Packers are missing Rashawn Gary, who's a huge run stopper. I think Derrick Henry's going to have himself a day against the Green Bay Packers. Same way we saw David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, and Justin Fields run very well against the Green Bay Packers when they played. So I'm going to take Tennessee on here. If Rashawn Gary didn't tear his ACL, I've got Green Bay because I think Tennessee's very one-dimensional. The problem is you lose one of your best run stuffers in Rashawn Gary, tore his ACL. Tennessee's taking the dub. Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff. 3-7 Chicago Bears heading down to ATL to take on the 4-6 Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are favored by 3.5. I like what I'm seeing from the Chicago Bears. I think the Bears they're 3-7, but I think the Bears are honestly overachieving. If you look at the roster, you look at the payroll, you look at the salaries, they put in basically just able-bodied players to play next to Justin Fields. You know, they made a huge splash trade with Chase Claypool. This is a team that is on the beginning stages of a rebuild. They're starting to rebuild, but they're not ready there. They've got $65 million in dead cap space from trading away Khalil Mack and making all of their offseason moves as they plan for the future. Right? If you're a Chicago Bears fan, I wouldn't be pissed off at 3-7. I really wouldn't. I would not be upset if my team is 3-7 right now because this is what you should have expected from this team going forward. You got the 3-6 Cleveland Browns traveling to the 6-3 Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 8.5. This could very well be a trap game. Remember when I kept telling you guys before Tampa Bay went up to Pittsburgh to watch out that the Steelers are probably going to win this game? This is something very, very similar for the Buffalo Bills right now, who are absolutely reeling. We don't really know why the Buffalo Bills are struggling. They're just getting outplayed. They're making costly mistakes late in the game. This could very well be a game that Cleveland runs into Orchard Park and steals a win. If I'm putting money down, I got to take Buffalo. But my heart is saying, like, hey, this has trap game written all over it because the Cleveland Browns are better than the record. I'm telling you, this is lining up exactly like the Steelers and Buccaneers did a few weeks ago. The Browns are better than their record. They've got the best running back in the NFL. Amari Cooper is a solid wide receiver. Jacoby Brissett is serviceable. Myles Garrett, one of the best edge rushers in the league, if not the best edge rusher in the league. I'm sure TJ Watt would like to have a word with that. Buffalo still can't run the ball. We still don't know why Buffalo cannot run the ball, why they haven't addressed the running back issue. Josh Allen nearly has double the rushing yards that Devin Singletary has, who is their RB1. They're passing the ball well. Stephon Diggs is still getting his. Gabe Davis is still, every now and then it'll be like, oh, Gabe Davis got 2 touchdowns. Oh, Gabe Davis got 3 touchdowns. And we're seeing things like that happen. But we don't know why the Buffalo Bills continue to struggle. I got to take Buffalo. Smart money says take Buffalo. Although, like I said, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if this is a trap game and Cleveland comes away with a dub. The 8-1 Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the 4-5-1 Indianapolis Colts. As poorly as the Eagles played on Monday night, I mean, they're still the most stacked team in the NFL. When you compare both sides of the ball, they're still the most stacked team in the NFL. They just played poorly. Like I said, these divisional games are always tough. We in Tampa Bay know that. We lost to Carolina. We barely beat Atlanta. Not good teams. However, here we are. We know about struggling, right? We know about struggling in divisional games, and that's essentially what happened. Washington just controlled the ball, made it very hard for Philly to do anything. If you're running 51 plays and a half, chances are you're going to win that game because you're just not allowing the other team that many opportunities to score the ball. Or to score points, whatever. Eagles are favored by 7.5. I think that's fair. The Colts are a complete mess. Jonathan Taylor finally had a good game. Maybe Jeff Saturday is the answer. I know there's people that are very upset that Jeff Saturday got the opportunity. Brandon Flowers said it best on SiriusXM on Mad Dog Radio. The NBA hires guys without coaching experience all the time. Baseball will promote a skipper. They'll hire a manager with no managerial experience. Sure, he played. Right? Look at Kevin Cash. What was Kevin Cash doing before he became the manager for the Rays? The back-to-back AL manager of the year 2 years ago. What was he doing? Like, the NFL is the only league where you're like, well, he doesn't have a resume. Well, so? Does he have to have a resume? Or are you trying to get at something else? Right? Is there some sort of an agenda or narrative that you're trying to push that makes you say, oh, well, this guy must have a resume. He has to have these things in this checkbox all checked off for me. Otherwise, I don't think he's fit to be a head coach. Is that what you're telling me? I don't know. Nick Sirianni, 2 years ago? Not a good head coach. Last year? Better. Still not that great. This year, figured it out. Jalen Hurts. So many people laughed at me when I worked for USA Today, and I put Jalen Hurts as the steal of the draft. So many people laughed at me. You can have your slice of humble pie with your pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. The 6-3 New York Jets are back from their bye. They're visiting the 5-4 New England Patriots. Patriots are favored by 3.5. I'm going to go with the Jets on this one on the road. I think Robert Saleh's got this defense all firing on all cylinders. And I think they're just going to out-talent the New England Patriots. I think that's what it boils down to. Zach Wilson's playing better. I think Mac Jones is a step ahead of Zach Wilson, but not by much. Right? I think that's where we're looking at. And then you have to tip your hat and the scale tips to the Jets because their defense is so much better than the Patriots. And I think that's why the Jets roll in, pick up the win, improve to 7-3, and then drop the Patriots to 5-5. In the biggest mess of the week, let me just double check here. No, there's two messy matchups here. The first messy matchup is the 3-6 Los Angeles Rams on the road against the 3-7 New Orleans Saints. Saints too these are all pretty close slates. The Saints are favored by 3.5 as well. And I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this game. If Matthew Stafford is playing, then the Rams are in. Right? Matthew Stafford should be out of concussion protocol. I got to go with but Cooper Kupp is going to be missing time too. I got to stick with the Rams. because the New Orleans Saints, for whatever reason, have arguably the greatest Swiss Army knife in the NFL with Alvin Kamara, and they refuse to use him on a weekly basis. Until Dennis Allen figures out how to utilize Alvin Kamara or tells Andy Dalton, check it down to Alvin Kamara and good things will happen. Until Dennis Allen does that, this New Orleans Saints team is going to continue to fall apart. Your best players need to get the ball. Chris Olave, good player. Not your only good player. And not your best player. Alvin Kamara is your best player. If you're not getting him the touches, if you're not getting him the targets, your best player needs to get the ball. Until they figure that out, they're going to continue losing. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think that Sean McVay is a hell of a lot better of a head coach than I do Dennis Allen. The 3-6 Detroit Lions on the road against the 7-2 New York Giants. The Lions struggle stopping the run, and I think that's the difference in this game. I'm going to go with the Giants in this one on the road. The Lions dropped 3-7. The Giants improved to 7-3 on the season. I think it's going to be closer than people, especially Giants fans, would like to think it will be. But Brian Daboll has got this team firing on all cylinders. The Lions have now won 2 games in a row. Dan Campbell got his first road win as a head coach. The Lions are a very momentum-driven team, right? Maybe they can pick up a win, but it's going to be very difficult for them. They've got to get DeAndre Swift involved. Very similarly to Alvin Kamara not being involved. And I understand that DeAndre Swift was coming off an ankle injury, but he's played in the last 2 games, and you've not given him much of any opportunity. I also happen to have DeAndre Swift and Alvin Kamara on my team. In my big money league. Alvin Kamara and DeAndre Swift are both on my team. So I need them to have big games because I'm tired of my team, which looks fantastic on paper, completely sucking ass when it comes to the actual standings. 3-7, Carolina Panthers on the road against the 6-3 Baltimore Ravens. Biggest differential this week. Ravens are favored by 13.5. Rightfully so. Ravens are a much better team than the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield's going to start again. I'm fine with continuing to start Baker Mayfield because I'm fine if the Buccaneers bring in Baker Mayfield next season once Tom Brady retires. I'm totally okay with that. I think that Baker Mayfield is leaps and bounds better than Kyle Trask and better than Ryan Griffin, who are the only 2 quarterbacks that are on the roster next season. I think that it's a no-brainer. I'm okay with bringing in Baker Mayfield to play with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Russell Gage, who will finally be healthy next year, hopefully. I've got Baltimore winning, of course. I don't see any way that Baltimore loses this game. I don't think this is a trap game in the least bit. I think this is going to be a very routine win for the Baltimore Ravens. The 5-5 Washington Commanders feeling themselves after a Monday night win over the Philadelphia Eagles and getting a blemish on that win-loss record are on the road against the 1-7-1 Houston Texans. Again, another 3.5 point differential. You got to go with the Commanders, man. The Commanders are riding high right now. The defense is starting to come back. Chase Young is cleared to play. Anytime the number 2 overall pick? Anytime the number 2 overall pick is cleared to play, it's a good day at the office for that team, huh? It's a good day at the office for that team. I think that the offense is finally getting rolling. Taylor Heineke is the guy. Carson Wentz is not the guy. We see that, right? Doesn't matter if Carson Wentz is fully healthy. It does not matter one bit. Taylor Heineke is the guy. Antonio Gibson got it going a little bit. Brian Robinson Jr. got it going a little bit on the grounds. And then you've got scary Terry McLaurin out there, man. He's one of the most underutilized wide receivers in the NFL. And when he had the spotlight on him on Monday night, what did he do? He performed. He played well. He performed well. I've got to go with with Washington in this. I like what the Commanders are doing. If Carson Wentz is playing, I'm going with the Texans in an upset. But Heineke's the guy. He's a solid, serviceable quarterback, and I'm going with him. The second messy game of the week, the 2-7 Las Vegas Raiders on the road against the 3-6 Denver Broncos. Broncos are favored by 2.5. I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this game. I really don't. This game if this game ended in a tie, I would say it's fitting and it's appropriate because both of these teams are an absolute mess. How many times have you guys heard me talk about the Las Vegas Raiders? They were a playoff team last year. Rich Bisaccia got this team rolling. All the off-field issues. You had your John Grudens, your Henry Ruggs. You had the safety out there toting his gun around on TikTok or something stupid like that. And they got in trouble. Rich Bisaccia got this team focused on the field. He took them to the playoffs. They're one catch away from going to the AFC Championship. Or not the next round. Right? That weird blown call from the officials that gave the Cincinnati Bengals the go-ahead touchdown when the referees blew the whistle, but then for some reason they allowed the continuation of the play after they blew the whistle, and we're like, oh, hey, my bad. That cost them the game. They had plenty of time to turn it around, sure, but momentum in football is a thing, and don't let anybody tell you that it's any different. But watching the Las Vegas Raiders, who only improved in the offseason, be 2-7 is an absolute joke. A 2-7 team that should realistically be like a 7-2 team or what, a 6-3, 5-4 at the absolute worst is what the Raiders should be. But they're 2-7 because Josh McDaniel is a trash, terrible, awful head coach. And I love watching the instant karma play out for the Las Vegas Raiders because they didn't even consider Rich Bisaccia for that job. Having said that, Nathaniel Hackett is equally as trash as a head coach. And Russell Wilson, not really sure. I'm going to go with Denver only because it's at home. Only because it's at home. If it's on the road, I'm going to go with, between these two teams, I'm just going to go home. I'm going home team, and that's it. 6-3. Dallas Cowboys on the road against the 8-1 Minnesota Vikings. This is the game that Fox was hoping that Green Bay and Dallas was going to be because A, that game wasn't that great. B, Green Bay was crappy up until that point. I mean, there's still 2 games under 500, but this is the game that Fox was hoping for. And it's on CBS. I have to roll with Minnesota. I don't see any reason why you pick against Minnesota at this point. Minnesota's the best team in the NFL right now. They just came off riding high against beating the Buffalo Bills. They're figuring everything out. They've got a new head coach, which is a rejuvenated Kirk Cousins, who is a top 6 quarterback, whether you like Kirk Cousins or not, is a top 6 quarterback in the NFL. Dalvin Cook has stayed healthy. That's huge. Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the NFL. Adam Thielen, also having a resurgence. Oh, and by the way, they got TJ Hawkinson, who kind of silent this week, but in his debut, 7 catches for 90 yards? Not a bad day. We know what we're going to get with Dallas. Dallas is a good team this year. They really are. And I think Mike McCarthy has these guys prepared. But I just can't bet against Minnesota at this point. And that's what it really boils down to for me, is that Minnesota, to me, I've bet against them enough. You know, I think Loose Cannon Leprechaun and I joked earlier in the week, might have been on Tuesday, where I was like, eventually I feel like the Vikings are going to Viking. But I'm also now considering that maybe they aren't because their coach is better and more even keel. And he's not an up and down kind of coach. I don't know. But you gotta go with Minnesota. You gotta go with the Vikings in this. As good as the Cowboys are playing. Cowboys are favored by 1.5. Closest spread the entire week. When the spreads are close, that means Vegas has no idea. That's what that means. But I'm going to go with Vikings. The last afternoon kickoff, you've got an AFC North battle. 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the 3-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are underdogs by 4.5. I'm gonna roll with Pittsburgh on this one again. Honestly, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on this one again. I think Mike Tomlin is just too good of a head coach for this team to fall short of expectations. In my honest opinion, I think Mike Tomlin is arguably a top 3 head coach in the entire NFL. Maybe even the best. He's the winningest in the first 15 years of his career in NFL history. He's the most winningest coach. So I don't know. Since he's not going to be with Jamar, they're without Jamar Chase. That's a problem for Cincinnati. They've still got Joe Mixon. They still got T. Higgins. They still have Tyler Boyd. They still have Hayden Hurst. They still have Joe Burrow. And I totally get that. But you're missing Jamar Chase, and you're going into a divisional game. We've talked about this earlier. Divisional games are difficult. They just are. They just are. Wife is in the chat. Wants me to put up the Christmas list. I'll do it. We'll put a bow in this. We've got Sunday night. We've got Monday night. I'll throw them up here while I'm doing this. Raid, hate, debate, do what you will. There are movies missing from this. That was way more difficult than any power rankings list, any mock draft list, any free agency target list, anything sports related. It's more difficult than anything I've ever done. Sunday Night Football, the 7-2 Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the 5-4 Los Angeles Chargers. Chiefs are favored by 5.5. The Chiefs are an absolute studly powerhouse team still this season. Just a tribute to Andy Reid as a head coach. Tribute to Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek Hill said yesterday McCole Hardman is playing like he is the best wide receiver in the NFL. It's a huge nod, huge vote of confidence from Tyreek Hill, former teammate who's obviously now with the Miami Dolphins. I don't know. I'm disappointed in the Los Angeles Chargers being 5-4. I really am. I'm disappointed in the Los Angeles Chargers being 5-4 because I think they should be much better. But this entire AFC West has been disappointing. 3-6 Broncos, 2-6 Raiders, 5-4 Chargers, 7-2 Chiefs. I said that I thought that the Chiefs were going to finish last place in the AFC West. I'm going to have to die on that hill. I'm going to have to eat crow, eat some humble pie. The Chiefs are still the AFC West without even a question. Still runs through Kansas City. I was completely wrong. I completely screwed the pooch. I completely missed it. The AFC West runs through Kansas City. I've got Kansas City going on the road and picking up the W in Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football. We'll put the bow in it, put the ribbon in it. Very, very fitting based off the power rankings being up there. Monday Night Football, 5-4 San Francisco 49ers on the road against the 4-6 Arizona Cardinals. 49ers are favored by 8.5. If Kyler Murray plays, I know he's currently listed as a game time decision, or he's listed as questionable. Sorry. If Kyler Murray plays, I feel like the Cardinals pick up the win here. But then again, Zach Ertz is out. You know what? Screw it. Smart money says 49ers. You go 49ers on this one. Jimmy Garoppolo, serviceable enough. The defense is going to stop Arizona because they're going to struggle to move the ball. AJ Green was the leading receiver last week with I don't even remember who the quarterback was. It wasn't Case Keenum. Colt McCoy is the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals right now. The 49ers they might even have a field day because you don't have Zach Ertz. DeAndre Hopkins might be underutilized again. And even if Kyler Murray is in there, the 49ers, it's a tough divisional game. And then it goes down to coaching, right? These divisional matchups tend to typically go down the ranks of who's a better head coach. And 10 out of 10 times, give me Kyle Shanahan over Cliff Kingsbury. I said this last time. I think that Cliff Kingsbury, I said this last season. For those of you who used to follow the Gridiron on Tap with me, Chris Myers, and Brandon Gunn, Cliff Kingsbury was the reason why the reins are on this Arizona Cardinals offense. When he missed that game in Cleveland and Arizona had their highest scoring game of the season and Kyler Murray had control of that offense, when he was out with when Cliff Kingsbury was out with COVID, that was the best this Arizona Cardinals offense ever looked. Cliff Kingsbury still has a job. Shouldn't have a job as a head coach, but he still does. I don't know why he still does. He needs to go back to college. Good to college head coach. Just didn't pan out for him in the NFL. Sorry, buddy. I think he got lucky because Kyler Murray's a good quarterback. People can talk about his height, whatever they want. They can talk. He's a midget. I don't care about any of that. Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins is still a top wide receiver. And their running game, whoever the running back is, whether it was Chase Edmonds last year, whether it was James Conner, whether it was Eno Benjamin, it just works. The problem for the Arizona Cardinals, all they did was lose in the offseason. Yeah, they got Zach Ertz, which is awesome, right? That's great, but he's now out. But they lost. All they did was lose in the offseason. They lost Chandler Jones. Obviously, Patrick Peterson's been gone. They lost Chase Edmonds. And they just didn't replace anybody. They just cut Eno Benjamin. They released him, which also is strange to me because he had a pretty decent showing when he was called upon. But it's just odd to me how Cliff Kingsbury still has a job. I don't know. The good news for the Buccaneers, though, I will tell you the good news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that even if the Falcons happen to beat the Bears, the Buccaneers still own the NFC South, baby, because the Saints are terrible, the Panthers are terrible, and look, you'll have your 11 games for if you're the Atlanta Falcons, but they haven't had their bye, right? But we got the win over the Falcons. So if we finish with the same record, doesn't matter. Tiebreaker, slanted to Tampa. Thank you very much. That was the game where Devin White told us he was bored, by the way, where they won by 6. And I know we're going to talk up Devin White now because he won Defensive Player of the Week. Like that's some big deal. It's not. It's not that big of a deal. It's cool that he won it. But as I've been telling people on Twitter, Devin White is an above average linebacker. Nothing more and nothing less. He's an above average linebacker. Does he have upside? Yes, he has upside, but we've also seen that he very much so has a downside as well. And don't get me talked about the statistics about missed tackles because Devin White is one of the league leaders in missed tackles and missed tackle percentage. So don't tell me that he leads the team in tackles. That's great. Linebackers typically lead their team in tackles. 13 of the top 15 tacklers in the NFL right now, all linebackers. The other 2, safeties. That's how it works. Year in and year out. So we're not going to use tackles when we talk about who's a good linebacker. We'll talk about missed tackles. We'll talk about quarterback pressures and receptions allowed. Those are things that really dictate how good a linebacker is. How you play in different facets of the game. That's what dictates how good of a linebacker you are, not tackles. Because you're going to get tackled regardless. It's happened every year since the beginning of time. Don't know what to tell you. That's going to do it for us today. Calgary is in town to take on the Bolts. Of course, Henry Yoho will be in there, so make sure you follow Henry on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Stay up to date on everything that's happening with the Bolts. Get those Christmas music playlists together. Start submitting them. I want to hear them. I'm going to put them together. We're going to go through it. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to rate them. I'm going to rate them. I'm going to rank them. And I'm going to critique them. And we'll see who comes out with the best Christmas music list. And I will not even put my own in this competition, but I will put my list together. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up button. Follow us on all the social media accounts. Just search for the Channelside Sports Network. And of course, if you are trying to chop it up with me individually, just look me up at Real Danny B. Hit me up on the Twitter. We're going to do it all over again tomorrow on a fired up Friday edition of Channelside in the morning, live on the Channelside